SHA-256 came from the NSA. I digress. Point being, that's why I think Zcash is going off. How are we doing, my lovely people? We've got to address some of the comments from the previous video about Zcash, because I think there is a little bit of a misunderstanding of like what that video was. That was an excerpt from a live stream where I was talking about privacy coins, and really I was talking in that specific moment about Zcash and why it was going up in price. A narrative, at least, that we could think about for why Zcash would be going up in price. And so Keith is shilling Zcash and you have no idea what you're talking about and all these other things. I want to address it for two different reasons. One of them being because that was taken out of context. And I'm going to provide the context in just a second. The second being that we've got to really address this tribalism, because I do my best to take my time to listen to people. And I personally am not, I'm not the intelligent person in the room, right? I'm just someone who is learning as much as I can and sharing as much as I can as well. I'm not the expert. What I want to make clear, though, is that regardless, when you're gathering information on the inters of web and you're trying to determine whether or not something is worthy of listening to, or whether or not something is something that you agree with or not, I think those are two separate things, right? Like, you don't have to listen to anyone that you don't want to listen to. I highly recommend that you don't listen to me if you don't want to listen to me. Because it is important that you watch what it is that you're consuming, and are very careful in that you craft, right, where you're getting your information from. But on the other hand, there's going to be things that you're going to disagree with on the internet, and there's going to be people in the world that you disagree with. And in those scenarios, the question is are you going to take that person's perspective and let it be whatever it is for you and give you some different viewpoints on how you view the world? Or are you going to just shut everything off and say, this person doesn't agree with me, and therefore I'm not going to listen to anything that they have to say about anything? Listen, once again, I don't mind if you don't listen to me. But for the people out there that are seeing these kinds of comments, that are looking to become, who are intellectually curious, provide the response to what it is that I'm saying that you think is wrong. We have so many people who take time out of their day to say, you're wrong. And it's okay, let's have a discussion, because I'm here for that. I'm here to have the discussion. That's why I'm making this video too, because I want to respond. I care about being intellectually honest and trying to actually get to the next iteration of my thoughts. So I'm not here to tell you guys that everything that I'm saying is correct. I'm here to simply share some opinions, share the accumulation of perspectives that I've gathered through my life. And I'd love to hear your guys' responses to anything that I say that you don't agree with. In fact, I'm all for that. I really encourage that. It helps me, right? So someone said, and I'm just going to read this off, I really liked your videos, but will not support this. You are leading your audience off an eventual cliff with Zcash. Your audience deserves to know these facts. Zcash requires a trusted setup, so you must rely on people not secretly creating unlimited coins. 2. A built-in founder's reward makes Zcash's money supply feel unfair and less trustworthy. 3. Its privacy pool is too small, so the privacy doesn't actually work well in practice. 4. The cryptography is extremely complex and harder to audit, creating long-term security risks. 5. Bitcoin's global network effects, adoption, and decentralization are already too big for Zcash or any altcoin to catch up. Bitcoin doesn't rely on trusted setups, founders' rewards, or central organizations, and it continues to improve through layers to add privacy and scalability without sacrificing its core principles. Thank you for this comment. This comment is actually responding. The first part of it, you are leading your audience off an eventual cliff with Zcash. I'm not leading anyone anywhere. Let me just make that. I'm not leading anyone anywhere. I'm simply sharing opinions and thoughts as they come up. That was from a live stream. I'm just talking, right, and sharing my personal opinions. Now, okay, when I play this clip, the rest of the clip, because I cut it off right, I guess where some of this stuff kind of gets addressed. I don't love Zcash. I don't love any privacy token. I don't really believe, quite frankly, in these privacy coins. And when I say believe in them, I'm saying that believe in the future of their adoption. Okay. As like mainstream, this is the future. So Shant, I want to share a little bit of my perspective because I can address each of these things, but honestly, it's all one big thing here, which is that I don't necessarily like love Zcash or any privacy coin. That's not my thing. So let's talk about the philosophy of Bitcoiners, because I think from what I can understand, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, please do. It sounds like you're a Bitcoin maximalist. And that's totally, I appreciate that. If Bitcoin is the ultimate answer to all of finance and decentralized finance, crypto, blockchain, DLT, then this idea, correct me if I'm wrong, the idea will be that all of the features that we need from the original idea of Bitcoin being this peer-to-peer cash system that I guess maintains some level of privacy, you can build these features into Bitcoin as it goes through time, right? You come to a consensus throughout the network, and that's how you move to that next step. Okay, great. In that case, then there will never be any competition to Bitcoin. There will never be any one coin, right, that has one feature that is superior to Bitcoin and that will get the adoption that Bitcoin has, right? I think it's kind of the point of what you're saying here. Bitcoin's global network effects, adoption, and decentralization are too big for Zcash or any altcoin, right? So you're a Bitcoin maximalist, and that's fine. So when it comes to privacy coins, Zcash, Monero, whatever, they're never going to fit the bill for you. And I personally, right, I don't think this is all in the clip, so I'm going to shut up and I'm going to roll the clip. Waffle Fry said, guys, please check out Monero. It's what Bitcoin should have been. I actually believe it's a fork of Bitcoin. The IRS has a bounty out for information on how to trace a Monero transaction. Zcash is working with the White House and IRS, on the other hand. Keith, please check out Monero. So this comes back to the idea here again. I am a cynic, right? So I noticed that I think like Ben is a little bit more optimistic. I am extremely pessimistic. And how would I say, like, I don't believe that the governments of the world and the powers that be, if you must use that term, really necessarily have like freedom money in mind as like the end goal for the world. And because of that, I think that like the path to get this distributed ledger technology adopted does not look like freedom money. It just doesn't. So let's talk about the difference between Monero and Zcash is a little bit of what I can say. So you say Zcash is working with the IRS. Well, I'm going to be honest with you, Waffle Fry. That's a bonus as an investment for me. Let's look at XMR real quick. Oops. Okay, Monero is also pushing up. Let's be clear. Now, Monero is real, I guess, privacy money because the methods that they are using are not, it's not inherently giving you the option to reveal, right, the tracing of the transactions. And I'm not like an expert in these privacy tokens. I'm just gonna be honest with you. Monero had half its network taken over by Cubic not too long ago, so it's a liability. Is Keith long Zcash? If Keith was long Zcash, he would have been long Zcash before. I'm gonna be real. Definitely not at the top. But for Monero, right? Like I think it has less of a case because, and this is not like I'm not saying as an investment perspective. What I'm saying is I think it has less of a case as from an adoption perspective. Are people going to use this technology? I think Monero is going to be what all of the old heads call Bitcoin. And it's so funny how out of the loop people are, right? Like these old heads will talk about, and this is, listen, no disrespect to anybody. Bitcoin is what all the criminals use. And it's like, dude, like if criminals are using Bitcoin, then they ain't no good. They not very good criminals. Okay. Because Bitcoin is very traceable. Very, 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 very traceable. In fact, you have an immutable record attached to your name almost of what you did. So, anyways, meanwhile, we've got Monero. Now, Monero may be what those people are talking about. And because of that, as we get closer into this world where we've got stable coins, we've got legislation in place, we got the Clarity Act, and this stuff is being taken seriously by the establishment, they're not going to like Monero. And if Zcash is working with the IRS, you said, in the White House, then they're going to rock with that. They're going to push that. They're going to push that kind of technology. This is my own cynical viewpoint, guys, right? Like, you don't have to subscribe to me. In fact, you can disagree with me. I'd love to see your disagreements. I'm very open to that. Christo said that who Bro Zcash is actually made by. Once again, like if I'm an investor and I'm trying to think about what the future is going to look like, Christo, am I going to bet against that institution? Christo, I'm not going to bet against them. Waffle Fry said, my case for Monero is once IRS takes a person to court demanding you to hand over your Bitcoin, the outcome of that court case will affect the freedom of real money. That can absolutely happen. And in fact, we will need some sort of a level of, we will need some legal precedent to take place on how to handle those types of situations. So Dave said they own a lot of Bitcoin, but not all of it. Bitcoin is not a crime. Some people simply won't buy Bitcoin because they don't or cannot confirm who Satoshi is. Bitcoin's real value is its blockchain. I hear it. Waffle Fry said the next thing will be your land, and I'm about dying for my land. Oh man. Don't die for anything material, brother. But I do hear what you're saying. I will respond to what you said on Waffle Fry. Waffle Fry said, if privacy is irrelevant, why have a shower curtain? I love that. Now, I don't think that privacy is irrelevant. I think that privacy exists on a spectrum. So let's use the shower curtain analogy. Some shower curtains have like a design on it, and it's like, it's fully matte out. Like you can't see anything through it. Other shower curtains have like it's just like plastic or whatever. But it's like blurry. You can't fully see through it. And then you got like the shower curtain that's just like thin plastic. You can see right through that thing. You know what I'm saying? You can see right whatever's going on behind that thing. You know what I mean? And that kind of a shower curtain, right? Yeah, that probably is like irrelevant. It doesn't do anything for you. But the shower curtain that at least has some sort of a blur, the thicker plastic, or I don't know how that stuff works. I'm not a materials guy. That has some value, but it doesn't really prevent someone from, for instance, seeing, if someone were looking in, seeing that shape, that figure, right? And that might be enough to identify a person, for an example. And I think that's kind of what Zcash does. Not literally, right? It's not literally that, but it's just, in fact, it just gives the person it gives everybody an option to be able to just pull the shower curtain if they want to, is really the better analogy to make. And so with that being the case, I'm not even sure exactly what the statement was, but I love the question there. I love it, to think about that just from a philosophical perspective. I would rather have the shower curtain that's got the the thicker material than the thin one. But that doesn't mean that I really believe that that's actually going to make a difference in the bottom line, or when push comes to shove, when Palantir, right, is deciding that they want your information, like they're going to get it. So anyways, Waffle Fry said, crypto is showing us that the power of the court is greater than the Constitution, freedom and justice. What do rights matter at that point? Who needs privacy? Yeah, no, I guess I'm on your side then. Yeah, Waffle Fry says Zcash is the illusion of privacy. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely on your side with that. Cross Central's been listening to what I say, and I really appreciate that. Quintessential said, Keith, we need a psycho shower curtain for Larry Fink. I don't know exactly what you mean by that, but I'm with you. Michael Collins said, opt-in privacy is a meme. All those private transactions can be determined because all the others are public. Yeah, I personally, guys, like I really don't know the actual specifics of Zcash or Monero. Um, I can speak to the basics of zero knowledge proofs and the concept and how it can be used. But that's about it. The actual functions of the what you're saying there, the opt-in privacy. Now, with a little bit of extra context, please remind me why I have it so wrong, and maybe we can talk about that next. I'll be doing another live stream soon. We can address some of those comments and learn something together. Peace. If you enjoyed this, then you would absolutely love my show with Ben Levitt called Memes and Markets. We go live every Tuesday and Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern, where we go into topics like this more in depth and in real time. Click the link in the description to subscribe to Memes and Markets, and I will see you over there on Tuesday and Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern.